Alright, today we are going to have a lesson on equations using the distributive property and like terms. As usual, there is a video guide to go along with this lesson. If you have not already printed that, go ahead and pause this, come back with a video guide, and go through these problems with me. Alright, so for number 1, we have 2 times the quantity 3x minus 8 minus 12 equals 2. So to solve this, I always like to put my line through the equal sign so I can see the two sides. We need to simplify before we can solve. All right, we have parentheses on this side, we've got some like terms. We need to simplify this so that it's easier to look at, and then we can actually solve for x. So the first thing that we need to do is to get rid of those parentheses. All right, and remember to do that, we multiply. This 2 is right outside the parentheses, and that means multiplication. So I'm going to multiply the 2 times the 3x and times the minus 8. So start with 2 times 3x, we get 6x. 2 times the minus 8, remember that makes this like a negative 8. So 2 times negative 8 is negative 16, so I have minus 16. Minus 12, now I do not multiply the 12 by the 2 because it is outside the parentheses. Okay, so only multiply what's inside the parentheses. And then my equal sign comes down and I bring down this 2. After that, once the parentheses are gone, I have some like terms here. My minus 16 and my minus 12 are like terms. I need to go ahead and combine those, okay? Again, simplify this problem as far as you can and then solve for x. Okay, so this minus 16 makes it like a negative 16. And minus 12, that's like a negative 12. So when I combine those, negative 16 and negative 12, it would be negative 28 equals 2. My 6x and my 2 stay the same, okay? From here, I can no longer simplify. There's no like terms on the left side. On the right side, I still only have the 2. So now I can start solving, okay? And solving means canceling out those numbers that are with x. All right, so whenever we're canceling, we need to get rid of whatever's being added or subtracted first, and then what's being multiplied and divided. So my minus 28 is going to be canceled first. To cancel it, we do the opposite operation, which would be plus 28 on both sides. So my 28's cancel. I get 6x equals 30. And my last step here is to cancel out the 6. So this is 6 times x. The opposite would be divide both sides by 6. And we get x equals 5. So x is by itself, so we are finished. All right, let's take a look at number 2. For number 2, we have negative 52 equals 3y minus 2 parentheses 5y minus 9 in the parentheses. So I'm going to draw my line through the equal sign. Remember, simplify first and then solve. There is nothing to simplify on the left-hand side. All there is a negative 52. So I'm just going to bring that down. Negative 52 equals. Now looking at the right-hand side, I need to get rid of the parentheses. So we're going to use that distributive property again. My 3y is just going to stay the same. It's outside the parentheses. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Now this minus 2 means that I have to multiply by a negative 2. Minus 2 is the same as a negative 2. So I'm going to take negative 2 times 5y. And you would get negative 10y. Take negative 2 times the minus 9, which is like a negative 9, which would give me a positive 18. Remember, if the signs are the same when you multiply, you'll get a positive answer. All right, so once we've done the distributive property, the parentheses are gone. Now if I look at this right side again, I have some like terms that I can combine. So I'm going to keep this side the same, negative 52. There's nothing to simplify there. But my 3y and my negative 10y, those I can go ahead and combine. So 3y and negative 10y would give me negative 7y, and then plus 18. Now when I look look at this, there is nothing to simplify. There's no like terms. I've gotten rid of the parentheses, so now I can solve. And again, when we're solving, cancel out the addition or subtraction first. This 18 is being added to the y, so I need to cancel out the plus 18 by subtracting 18 on both sides. So negative 52 and negative 18 gives me negative 70 equals negative 7y. And my last step here is to cancel out the negative 7. All right, to cancel this, this is negative 7 times y, because they're right next to each other. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 7. Negative 70 divided by negative 7 is positive 10 equals y. Now that y is by itself, this is my answer, and we're done with the problem. At this time, go ahead and pause the video and try numbers 3 and 4 on your own. So for problem number 3, I solved for m. Make sure you do the distributive property first to get rid of those parentheses. Then you combine like terms, so that's where we got the 8m, and then you solve. So when we solve, we should get that negative 12 equals m. All right, so check your work if you didn't get what I got. Pause the video, take a look at what I did. Okay. For number 4, we're solving for r. Again, I did the distributive property first, and then combine like terms. That's where we got the 31. And then we solve for r. So cancel out the 31s and divide. You should get that r equals negative 2. If you did not get negative 2, again, pause and take a look at my work. All right, we're going to move on to problem number 5. There's a little bit more going on in this problem, but we still follow the same rules. Simplify first and then solve. So for number 5, our problem is 2 parentheses 7k plus 1 plus 4 equals 6 parentheses k plus, k minus 2 minus 6. So always draw that line through the equal sign. It really helps with solving to make sure that you keep everything in place. Just like before, we are going to do the distributive property first. Okay, we have to get rid of the parentheses. So we're going to distribute the 2. 2 times 7k gives me 14k. 2 times a positive 1 gives me positive 2. And then the plus 4 just comes down. Remember, do not multiply the numbers that are outside of the parentheses. Okay, those stay the same. Now you'll notice that I have parentheses on the right side of the equation as well. We just do it again, okay? We need to do the distributive property. You have to get rid of those parentheses. So I'm going to multiply these by 6. Now remember, a letter by itself has a 1 in front. So this is a 1k. So 6 times 1k is 6k. And 6 times minus 2, remember that's like a negative 2. So 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. So I write that as minus 12. This minus 6 just comes down because it's outside the parentheses. I do not multiply it, okay? So we've gotten rid of our parentheses. We've done the distributive property. Now we combine like terms, okay? So looking at the left side, I have 2 and 4 that are like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and combine those. My 14k will stay the same. 2 plus 4 gives me positive 6. Okay. On the right-hand side, I have some like terms over here as well. A negative 12 and a negative 6. My 6k will stay the same because it's not alike. Negative 12 and negative 6 is negative 18, so I write that as minus 18. From this point, we start solving. Okay. We've done the distributive property, we've combined like terms, so now we can solve. We have 2 letters this time. We have a 14k on the left and a 6k on the right. I need to get those letters together, all right? So to do that, I need to cancel out a 6k. So I'm going to subtract 6k on both sides. 14k minus 6k gives me positive 8k. My plus 6 just stays the same, and so does my negative 18. Don't forget to bring down the sign with the 18. After that, I need to get the numbers together. Okay, I need to cancel out this positive 6. To do that, I will do the opposite. I will subtract 6 from both sides. 6 minus 6 is 0, so those cancel. 8k comes down, equals negative 16 and negative 6. Combine those together and we get negative 24. Almost done. I know these problems take a little bit longer. So this is 8 times k. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by 8. My answer is k equals negative 3. Okay? So these do take a little bit longer, but if you follow the steps, if you follow these rules, do distributive property, then like terms, get the letters together, get the numbers together, divide, you're going to get the right answer. So just take it one step at a time and you'll be fine. All right, one more. Let's take a look at number 6. We have 20 plus 10 parentheses 2w minus 6 and parentheses equals 2 parentheses 5w minus 7 minus 16. Draw that line. Make sure you know where your two sides are. Okay? Start by getting rid of the parentheses. So do the distributive property. This 20 is separated with an addition sign, so it's just going to stay the same. Just bring that down. We're going to multiply by the 10. So 10 times 2w gives me positive 20w. 10 times minus 6, that's like a negative 6. So 10 times negative 6 is negative 60, or minus 60. On the right side, we also have another set of parentheses. So we just distribute again. Multiply by that 2. 2 times 5w gives me 10w. 2 times the minus 7 gives me negative 14. My minus 16 stays the same because it's outside the parentheses, so I don't multiply that. Now, we've gotten rid of the parentheses. We need to combine like terms. On the left-hand side, my 20 and my negative 60, those are the two that are like terms, not the 20w. So the 20w is just going to stay the same. But 20 and negative 60, when I combine those, I get negative 40 equals. On the right-hand side, the 10w is not a like term with the other two, so I'm just going to bring that down, keep that the same. But my negative 14 and my negative 16, those I can combine. Those are like terms. And when I combine those together, I get negative 30. So we've done the distributive property. We've combined like terms. Now I need to get the letters on the same side, okay? So to do that, I move my letters to the left. So I'm going to cancel out that 10w, okay? To cancel it, to make it 0, I'm going to subtract 10w on both sides. 20w minus 10w is 10w. The minus 40 just comes down. And we bring down the negative 30. These 10w's cancel. After that, get my numbers together. This is a minus 40, our negative 30. So to cancel out the minus 40, I'm going to add 40 to both sides. Negative 40, positive 40, that's 0. My 10w just comes down. And negative 30 and positive 40 gives me positive 10 when I combine those. We're almost finished. One last step. This is 10 times w. So the opposite would be divide. I'm going to divide both sides by 10. The 10's cancel. I get w equals positive 1 as my answer. At this point, go ahead and pause the video, try numbers 7 and 8, and then come back to check your work.
Go.
So for problem number 7, again, make sure you do the distributive property first and then combine like terms, which is exactly what I did. Once you've combined like terms, you get your variables together, get the numbers together, and then divide. And your answer should be h equals negative 4. If you did not get negative 4, go ahead and pause, take a look at my work, and see if you can figure out what happened. For number 8, again, same thing. Distributive property comes first. So we get here, combine like terms, got the variables together, got our numbers together, and then we divide. Your answer should be x equals -3. Again, if you did not get that correct, pause, check your work with mine, because it's all up here. And that finishes our lesson on solving equations with the distributive property and like terms.